Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for being able to join us this afternoon or this morning for you guys on the West Coast. My name is Chris Richters, and I'm the National Account Manager for Indeed with Parker Hannifin. I've been with Indeed for 2.5 years now, and I've been working on the Parker Hannifin account since January of 2020. So perfect timing to take it over, right as everything just goes really, really weird for all of last year. But I'm excited to be meeting with y'all and show y'all exactly how we use our resume sourcing tool and learn a little bit more about your team and your organization too. So I'll let Taylor and Siobhan introduce themselves as well.
Siobhan, go ahead.
Sure thing. I'm Siobhan. I've been with Indeed about a month now, so a little bit on the newer side. Before Indeed, I was a CSM at a marketing tech company, and I also live in Boston and lived here for almost my entire life. So East Coast.
Awesome. And hi, everyone. My name is Taylor. I'm on a team at Indeed called Employer Insights. And so I partner with Siobhan and Chris from a recruitment marketing perspective. So anything that you might need assistance on in terms of candidate experience, employer branding, engagement, that's my wheelhouse. I've been at Indeed for over 4 years. I came to Indeed from LinkedIn. So if you're using LinkedIn, great platform. And this is going to be a great way to augment that strategy if you're using it. So in an ongoing capacity, anything I can do to make your lives easier in terms of candidate, attraction, that's what I'm here to help you do. So thanks for having me. I'll be the one walking you through resume today.
Excellent. Thanks, Taylor. Thanks, Siobhan. So before we get started here, we are going to jump into the resume platform and show you how exactly we do our sourcing tools using resumes, some tips and tricks, some best practices, and answer any kind of questions you have. But before we jump into that and Taylor starts out the demonstration, I kind of want to open it up and ask some questions about what has recruiting been like over the last year? What are some of the challenges that you guys have run into? And now that we're starting to come to the other end of the pandemic and things are starting to open back up, what do you see the future looking like over the next few months in terms of sourcing?
Well, Chris, I can speak for the division I work with. We're the Exotic Metals Forming Division. We're up in the Seattle area. About last March, we went into a hiring freeze, so we didn't have any open recs posted. About September, October, we started opening up a few select recs, just a handful between that time frame and the end of the year. And then as we've moved into this year, we've started to open up a few more. I have about 30 recs open right now. Pre-COVID, we were probably running consistently 120, 130 recs at a time because we were going through a pretty significant growth phase. Looking at our workload forecasts, we do see that need trending back upwards. So we kind of feel like as we hit early summer, midsummer, we're probably going to be back in the volume of maybe 60 to 80 open recs. A lot of that is still up in the air, based on our customers' needs and our workload and things like that. But we are at least trending back upwards with our hiring needs.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Yeah, it's nice to see things opening back up and people starting to hire again. And it sounds like your workload is about to increase as well with the new recs that are going to be coming open.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys have any experience using Indeed in the past? Not necessarily just with resume, but sponsoring jobs or using any of our targeted apply ads?
Yeah, so Exotic's fairly new to Parker. We've only been part of the Parker Aerospace Group for about 1.5 years now. But prior to that, yes, we did use Indeed. Primarily, we used sponsored jobs in the resume database.
Okay, great. Yeah, I know Kevin. Before you and I started working together, I worked with Joe, and Joe had a specific amount that he would sponsor in jobs every single month. Then the pandemic hit, and we obviously had to scale that back. So hopefully we can get back on track with sponsoring the posts, because that's a great tool to use in tandem with resume sourcing as well. Anybody else have experience using Indeed specifically with resume?
Chris, this is Wendy Fennell. We actually used to work and partner with Joe. So he kind of had a lot of the access and things like that. It was more of the focal point specific with our group versus us having the individual licenses and things of that nature.
Gotcha.
Be
Okay.
a little bit new it would be new specifically for me.
Okay. That's great. Thank you for clarifying that too, for sure. Taylor, anything else you want to cover before we jump in here?
No, I think this is a really good place to start. You know, we've been working very closely with a variety of different clients over the last year. Obviously, the talent landscape has changed dramatically with COVID. You know, but what I can share with you is that we've also been, you know, working very diligently to understand job seeker sentiment right now, job seeker behavior, you know, what has changed. You know, for example, to no surprise, you know, remote searching on Indeed or searches that contain the word either work from home or remote have increased about 480%. So, you know, we definitely know that a lot of folks, you know, have been trying to understand how they might transition their existing role, especially if it was on site, to a remote position. Fortunately, the light is at the end of the tunnel, and I think that we're starting to see a little bit of mobility again. But, you know, for example, still the number one concern that job seekers share with us is fear of exposure. You know, even post-vaccine, you know, what sort of you know, protocols has the organization put in place to protect their employees? You know, and what sort of benefits maybe have changed due to the pandemic to accommodate, right, a good employee experience. So those types of things I want to chat with you about and talk about, because when I think about, you know, resume searching and right, proactively tapping a candidate on the shoulder first to say, hey, I discovered you. Here's why I think that, you know, you would be a good fit for us, or why I would like to have a conversation. I guarantee you that one of the first questions that they're going to have for you is right, how is business post, you know, pandemic, and what have you done to support your employees during this time? And those are the types of things that we can leverage to really sell the opportunity to candidates. And, you know, having just got into your account already and poked around, it looks like you all already have some pretty robust Boolean searches set up. Kevin, spoiler alert, I'm logged in as an admin on your account. So I see that you've got like a lot of really complex strings built out. So that's great. So this is going to be less about me educating you how to recruit. I don't need to do that. You already know how to do that. But what I would like to do is just kind of walk you through a workflow of a resume, show you a couple of bells and whistles that I find to be very helpful. And then from there, right, answer any questions that you have and kind of take it from there. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to, you know, chat about during our call today? Or, you know, kind of referring to what I said earlier, anything that we can do to make your life a little bit easier right now as you're recruiting during this time? Or does this sound good for today?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. I'm also not a PowerPoint person. I think PowerPoints are like very boring, and the last thing that I would want to do as a participant is sit through that. So what I would encourage you to do is if you've got questions, feel free to like take yourself off mute, pause me. I would love to dialogue with you about what you see. If you feel more comfortable entering a question through the chat down there, Siobhan and Chris, maybe what I'll have you do is just keep an eye on that chat box for me. And then, you know, feel free to toss in those questions. But I'm excited to show you Resume. It's a really great tool. It's one of our fastest growing verticals of Indeed. We have about 200 million resumes in there, with about 7 million new resumes coming in every single month. As you can imagine, this past year has been pretty significant for our business in particular, because we are in the business of connecting folks back to work. And, you know, we've seen just such an uptick of activity on our site across all industries. So really what this is going to be is a great way for us to really kind of position Parker for the very first time, right, to a candidate, and really showcase to them, right, why they should either make a switch or what opportunities you have that are going to be really compelling for them. What I can share with you is that on our site, so job seekers have the ability to rate, you know, the opportunity and rate the organization. You're currently at a 3.7 rating out of 5 stars on our site. At about 3,000 reviews. So that's actually about 2 points higher than the average. So average on our site's around a 3.5. And so A, I want to celebrate that. And B, I think that as we continue to engage more job seekers, we can even continue to increase that. Kevin, we're gonna chat with you offline about some employer branding recommendations we have, just to make sure that the page is really tight, really crisp, so that way, once you do kind of garner the attention of those job seekers and they are driven back to your page, they have all the information they need to make an informed decision. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen with you quickly and kind of just walk you through this. And this will probably take, you know, 10 to 15 minutes And then, right, like I said, I would love to just, pause any questions that you might have throughout. Happy to tackle them. So welcome to Resume. The one thing you'll notice about Indeed, both from a job seeker perspective or any tool that you use, simplicity is the name of the game for us. And so you'll always notice that the UI, the UX, the way that the site looks and feels, it's always going to be very simplistic in nature. It's the number one piece of positive feedback we get from job seekers is that, I actually like the simplicity of the site. Not only is it easy to use on a desktop computer, but more importantly, it's easier to use on a mobile device. So this would be very helpful for you all to know. About 67% of all folks who use Indeed actually are using us from their mobile phone. And last I checked for Parker, you're sitting at about a 74% engagement rate via mobile, excuse me. So that tells me that the majority of your candidates are researching the brand and wanting to apply to positions from their phone. So, when we think about your job postings in of themselves, something that I can help you with in an ongoing capacity is the optimization of job titles, of job descriptions, just to make sure that we're using keywords that translate very well, not just for job seeker sentiment, but for SEO, so search engine optimization. And these are all things that we need to keep in mind, in terms of messaging our candidates as well, specifically using a platform like this. We've been working very hard over the last year to make these tools even more accessible to job seekers and to really add color to job seeker profiles. So one of the newer features in Resume here is that not only do you get access to the individual's resume itself in totality, but you now have visibility into what assessments that job seeker has taken, so that if you want to maybe reference something very specific in an outbound message to personalize that note, it's going to just be a better way to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of walk you through a basic search here, just to kind of generate some search results. And then I'm going to show you a couple of key elements that I really like. So, if we just have warehouse associate in here, for example, in Erie, Pennsylvania, I took a look at your corporate site just to kind of get a feel for what positions were where. It looks like we've got a variety of different roles. But if we're starting kind of general, the first thing that I like to do, unless you're working with a very, very niche role, is you'll notice that job title here is automatically kind of default selected. I actually like to deselect that and start my search a little bit wider. Type in the name of either the position or a couple of keywords, that you want to have appeared in your search results, and then where, and then just run these searches. The site's really fast. We load results in about 0.6 of a second. Now, short of actually coming in and writing out Boolean searches, which you can do very easily. So if you are a Boolean master, if this is how you like to kind of manage your candidate outreach, what I would encourage you to do is over on the right-hand side here, you'll notice that there is an option for advanced search. If you were to click into that, you'll be able to see here that you are actually able to build out a Boolean string without having to actually build out a Boolean string. If you are if you're proficient and you know all of your modifiers and or not, quotes, parentheses, that kind of a thing, feel free to use those in the standard search box. But if you were just wanting to kind of allow Indeed to help you build out that search, you'll notice here, that you have the opportunity to include all of these words. So that would be the and modifier, the exact phrase, at least one of these words, which would be the or modifier, and then importantly, none of these words. If you want to maybe exclude an organization that you don't want to pull talent from, maybe you maybe you aren't able to pull talent from that organization. If there's particular schools or anything like that you don't want to include, I would highly recommend that. And then, of course, you have the opportunity to come in here and select very specifically previous work experience, education requirements, and things like that to really refine your search. So that's just kind of the basic of search. Probably nothing that you don't know, but I just want to make sure that you knew that advanced search is where Indeed would help you build out a Boolean string itself. Now, if we actually look here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you. If you look, at the general setup of Resume here, so you'll notice at the top here we've got a couple of different tabs. We've got search, projects, alerts, templates, and profile. So the search tab is going to essentially be where you're running all of your candidate criteria to really narrow down those resumes and those assessments. So we're going to spend the majority of time in this portion. But I did want to make you aware of projects as well. So if anyone here has ever used LinkedIn Recruiter, very similar functionality, I would highly recommend you create a project per requisition that you're working on, so that way right, you have an active list running, and then as you are running different searches and identifying great candidates, you can then directly add them into a project right from search. So you'll notice here that if let's say Matthew here is a candidate that I've reviewed and I want to add, all I need to do is simply click on add to project. It will then showcase to you what project they're added to with a timestamp. And that's visible to your team so that other folks, right, who you're working with can see what candidate has been entered and where, to really kind of enhance that collaboration aspect and look and feel. You'll notice that up here at the very top of the search results page here is this switch to toggle on. So this is essentially a way for you to be able to auto generate alerts for yourself. Anytime that anyone new comes into the Indeed platform, updates their profile or their resume, or maybe uploads a new one for the first time, if you've got a search alert set for this particular search that you've run, we will email you anytime a new candidate is available for review, so that you don't have to go in and manually type in that, that full string or whatever search criteria that you'd entered in. And then that's going to show up here right next to projects under resume alerts. So if you have a search that you like to run frequently, or if you have an evergreen rec, right, that kind of always houses the same type of keywords or the same type of criteria, it's just going to be a great way for you to kind of offset some of the manual entry work on the front end. Of course, you have the ability to save templates as well. So, Kevin, I see that you've got a couple in here, which I think is great. These are shareable among your team. So if if you're working with someone who's a wordsmith and really knows how to generate a good message, and you want to save that and use it for yourself, you can save it right here into your templates. The only thing I'm going to caution you on is just make sure that you always proofread that template before you send it out. I know it sounds like elementary, but you would be surprised how many emails, in-mails I get on a weekly basis that will say something like, dear blank, like quite literally, dear BLANK, comma, right? You're just the candidate we've been looking for. We want to have a conversation with you, so on and so forth. It's very evident, right, that it's a template and it was sent out to other people. Or even worse is when I'm reached out to, I just got a message on LinkedIn for, it was like a window repair technician, and I assure you that all I would do is break your window more. So I just want you to make sure that the message going out to candidates is exactly what you want to see. And we're going to talk a little bit more about outbound messaging and best practices there. And then profile. So if you did want to go in and you wanted to make yourself a little bit more known to candidates, I'm not sure that I have the ability to go in and do this, right? Because it is password protected. But it would be a way for you to articulate, right, your title, how long you've been at your organization, what you look for in candidates and things like that, just to give job seekers even more of purview into, right, who you are as a recruiter, to make their search experience and their interviewing experience even better. Now on the left here, so a couple of filters that I want to point out. So it's going to auto default to 25 miles every time that you run a search. What's kind of great about what's happening now with COVID, if you do have any flexibility or any sort of work or remote work positions, you can definitely fluctuate this. We do know that about 25 miles is around the max that a job seeker tells us anyway that they would like to commute for work. We are playing around with some really interesting technology right now to basically map out where the position is located against where the job seeker is located to give them commute information. So just to kind of sneak peek there, we've got thousands of tests and new tools kind of every single day being tested and tried out. So be on the lookout for that. But the default is 25 miles. So feel free to alter that as you see fit. You can also run searches by zip code as well. So if you're wanting to focus more particularly through that sort of search criteria, feel free to do that. It will default to resumes uploaded in the updated in the last 6 months. If you are in this tool every single day, right, and you're using right these search filters and these search alerts, right, you might want to even switch it to a day so that you only get kind of preview to the new, either the newest or most updated resumes in the site. We do not remove resumes from the platform here, and we do that because job seekers tell us, well, I'm not, I might only be in the market for a new job every couple of years, so I want my resume to stay up there. But what we are doing is we are embedding multiple touch points into the job search experience for folks. so that if we do indicate that they are on Indeed, they are looking, but they haven't updated their resume, we're offering them navigation paths to very quickly hop into their resume, make some updates, make some changes so that they are presenting themselves in the most relevant way possible. So there's a lot of things going on the back end of it, on the job seeker experience side of the house, to make sure that we are presenting you with high quality candidates with as much up-to-date information as possible. If you ever did want to look to see right when a resume was last updated and refine that criteria, you can do that. But importantly here, what I would like to do is show you this ready to work now feature. So this came about in really in March, April of last year, kind of when everything was blowing up into smoke. But what we now do is offer job seekers the ability to kind of urgently raise their hand to say, I'm looking for a job right now. So if you were to click on this ready to work, you'll notice that of those 300 and some resumes that we had, 145 people here have indicated I'm actively looking for a job right now. This is going to indicate to you as a recruiter that a response is going to be that much higher. It's about 65% higher when folks have updated their resume or their profile to say this. One thing that we also did to make it easier for people to kind of usher back into the workforce is we've made them free to contact. So anyone who has indicated on their profile that they are actively looking for a job right now, you as the recruiter, because this whole platform is credit based, the subscription plan that you're on right now, each of you are going to get 30 different outreach credits to use per month. So it'd be 1 credit per job seeker that you're reaching out to. But anyone, like I said, who has indicated immediate active interest, free to contact at all times. But the best part is if you do send a message to them and you get a response back, we'll actually credit an additional credit back into your account. So it's a way for us to continuously build up your account through a means of sending quality outreach messages and garnering those responses back. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed that out. Any questions about that so far? Okay, cool. So play around with that. Like I said, we've seen that these response rates are really elevated in this case. And I would be willing to bet that if you generate a really good message that you save as a template, it's just going to make your overall operational efficiency that much better. Now, if we actually click into a resume here, so wanted to just kind of point out a couple things that I find really interesting. So of course, you're going to get access to the full resume here. So this individual, Thomas, is a warehouse associate currently at IntelliSource. You'll be able to see all of their work history. Any keyword that you've embedded into your search is going to be highlighted throughout the resume as well. I do think it's also important to note that if you do run a search including keywords and not necessarily just a job title, we do not only pull content from the job title itself, we pull it from anywhere in the resume. So if someone does have, let's say, like a business objective, a summary, or just additional sections that they wanted to highlight, maybe leadership opportunities, community involvement, awards, things like that, that would all populate in here as well. Looks like this person has a robust background with a lot of different roles, so that's really great. You can see here that he's indicated different skills that kind of span a whole variety of different industries. So that would be helpful to know. And then of course, certifications and licenses are going to also populate. If Thomas here had taken an assessment, that would all populate as well. So let me see if I can find someone who maybe has taken an assessment here, and I can show you what that looks like. Perfect. So you'll notice down here that this individual took a whole host of different assessments. So, managing and measuring aptitude for things like mechanical skills, manufacturing. It looks like he was a youth program counselor. That's really cool. This is another great way for you to really just kind of drill down into the candidacy of that individual, and then maybe use these types of keywords and these types of skill sets to call out in a message that you are sending them. Based on the subscription plan that you currently have, you do not have the ability to send messages to more than one person at a time. That is for the professional plan. So if you do ever decide to upgrade as an organization, you will have the ability to access more than, send a message to more than one folks at a time. But for right now, this is essentially what you're going to have access to, which is honestly going to allow you the opportunity to personalize a message. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed this out as well, so that you knew it was resume and then assessment information as well, all in the name of the game of elevating candidate quality. I also wanted to note for you as well, so this free to contact, this is also going to appear if you are searching for any sort of military candidate. So anyone who has served with us or has indicated on their resume that they have a military background, they are going to be free to contact as well. And something else that we did to accommodate this is actually make this its own separate filter here. So I saw that on your corporate career site that military hiring, diversity and inclusion seems to be important to the organization. So anyone, right? So any of these 11 people, right, that have this background, I would absolutely, mention this inside of your message to them, maybe even just thanking them for their service. If it's, military appreciation month, whatever that might be, great opportunity for you to make that connection. Also going to be free to contact, and you'll get that credit back if they respond. Now, when you send messages out to people on resume, so the way that it works is it will actually, the message that you send to them will populate in their email inbox as well as their resume dashboard. So when I'm logged in, there's going to be a little envelope in the top right corner of my screen. So anytime that you send a message, it's going to appear in both places. Because the individual has already clicked yes to say, I am willing to receive messages from recruiters, it's going to automatically show up. It will come from Indeed though, and not you directly. So that's an important distinction as well. The reason why we do that is because those people have already said, yes, I'm willing to respond or get messages from Indeed. That mitigates the risk of it going into a spam inbox. So what you would do is just fill out these fields that you see here, maybe select a template if you've got one saved, and then send your message. Obviously, and this stands true if you're using any other sort of outreach platform, but you definitely just want to make sure that you're personalizing this message as much as possible, referencing again, maybe leveraging a filter that you've used to indicate a specific skill set or unique quality about that individual. But the one thing that I can share with you is you try to humanize these notes as much as possible. A couple of paragraphs is just fine. I would say if you keep, if we can keep them below 500 characters, that would be great. That's about 2 swipes on a phone. And given that the majority of your folks are actually researching the company and reading inbound messages on their mobile devices, just want to make sure that that's optimized in that, for that platform. But what I would love for you to be able to do is maybe just warmly open up with something that just kind of personalizes the company. If maybe even recommending someone visit your site, visit your Indeed page, read some reviews, or if they've indicated on their resume here something that's important to them, I would call that out as well, right? All of the standard tips and tricks that you might think about are helpful. But what I would say though is when you get down to the actual job posting in and of itself, this is my personal opinion that I like to kind of embark upon if I was in a recruiter's shoes, is you want to actually select the posting that you have live on the site so that people can click on the hyperlink and automatically go to it. What I would say here is instead of actually entering the job description, maybe just copy and paste one paragraph describing the role, or if you just want to recopy and paste the link directly to the job description that's already going to be formatted for you, that's a good way to go. I find that anytime you post the full job description or copy and paste it into this message here, it just adds on so much body and length into that message that a job seeker will get that it can be a little bit overwhelming. So that's just a little efficiency tip that I can offer you is maybe post the link here instead of the actual job description itself. And then you can actually preview the email as well so that you can just make sure that from a formatting perspective, it looks the way that you want to when you do reach out. But it will all go through this platform right here, will be sent to the job seeker in the form of an email and in the form of a message. And then at that point, then if they do respond, then it'll connect your personal, or in this case, your work email address, and then you'll resume a conversation that way. And then if they did want to offer you their phone number or anything like that, they can, but we're never going to offer that criteria inside of their resume. Job seekers tell us they don't want that, right? They don't want to get unsolicited phone calls from recruiters. They would rather have a time set up to chat, knowing that, it's going to be a legitimate phone call and then, not disregarded as spam. I can't remember the last time I answered the phone for a phone number that I didn't recognize, right? It always goes directly to voicemail. And then for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe I'm a millennial, but I'm much more of a response via text kind of a guy. I just voicemail is just not my gig. And I find that that's the case for a lot of people. So anytime that we can leverage, right, any sort of text communication, I find that response rates are that much higher. Awesome. So I've talked a lot at you in the last 20 minutes, but I just wanted to make sure I got some of those basic pieces of functionality covered. It's really no more complex than that. So, I would encourage you, if you have, templates that you're maybe using, even if you are, using LinkedIn or anything like that, a lot of the same methodology is going to apply here. I remember when I was there, I used to write, kind of teach InMail best practices as well. But what I will share with you is that just from an audience perspective, I do find that for manufacturing roles, warehouse positions, we do tend to have a greater pool of talent because it's just the platform that people use for that. It's a little bit different for executive level roles and things like that on that platform. But I would say this is going to be a great complement to that if you are using it for that purpose. We find that a lot of industrial type of candidates are on Indeed first and foremost. And we see that just based on the sheer number of resumes that are being brought into the site, being uploaded and refreshed, that we can stand behind that. So I'm going to pause there. Chris, Siobhan, if there's anything that I missed that you think would be very important to add in, speak now. Would love to understand, anything else we need to chat about. Other than that, though, I'm going to open it up to the team and see, what we can clarify, or if there's anything else that you would like to see.
Taylor, I don't think you missed anything at all, but I do have a question for the Parker team. And it's in regards to what types of positions we're currently working on. So is it varying the types of positions that are opening back up? Are they more at the plant level or at the warehouse level, or are these more corporate positions that you're working on?
I've had a lot of supply chain.
Supply chain.
Planning, what do you call it? Buyers. That's where my hot commodity, and there's not a lot of applications coming in. I'm only getting like 25 to 30, and the planner ones mainly are been open for a few weeks now, and they still haven't even hit 40 on either one of them.
Okay.
Do you have like the exact job title for that?
Planner specialist, I think, and planner senior.
Like planner here, I'm gonna just let's look at planner. And Jennifer, what's a location that you're looking in right now?
Irvine, California.
Well, good old Irvine. Let's just see, like, from a broad perspective what we have. So 2413 material. Would you consider this a material planner?
Yeah, I guess so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at Lewis here. So senior associate material planner. So actually what I do is, right, as I'm kind of coming in and playing around with different keywords, this is a great example of this. I kind of leverage this as inspo, if you will, to kind of determine like what other ways could I, or what other keywords could I could include here. So, right, I might now want to go up here, and in planner, I might say, right, at least, right, like material planner, maybe even senior. And then at that point, right, run the search and then see what we refine to. Yep, there we go. Material planner 2. Yeah, see, because a lot of different organizations, right, they level it differently, and right, we don't necessarily know what a 2 means. I would assume that right is some sort of an elevated position, but these are the types of things that I would just kind of keep my eye out for. But that's essentially how I would kind of navigate that little workflow.
Okay. All right, thanks.
No problem.
Any other examples like that you could share with us?
So let me ask you this. This is Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
When currently we're looking for a senior quality engineer, but for the position, we will have relocation. So I'm not necessarily focused on searching just in Dublin, Georgia. I just want the search to be encompassing, you know what I mean? To where people know where it's located, but I'm not going to limit it to a certain geographical area because of the reload.
Yeah, so in that case, Wendy, all you would do is I would type in United States under the where function, and then that way it'll just open it up to country-wide opportunity or talent.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
You know,
totally.
That's actually a really good example of the type of position, if you're offering relocation, that you should use as like a sponsored job post on Indeed and put directly in the title what the position is, and then put relocation available, sign-on bonus available, and open that search up to nationwide. And that's going to increase your talent pool dramatically.
So when you
Yep.
say sponsored job opening, I don't know what that means.
Taylor, do you want to maybe show her how to sponsor a job really quick?
I'm sorry.
No,
that's
oh my gosh,
okay.
no. So in short, no, not, that's a great question. So essentially, in short, what we have on Indeed, we have free jobs and we have paid for jobs. All jobs are going to default as free. And so anytime that you post a new rec to your ATS, Indeed acts as a search engine, right? We're an aggregator. So we'll go out into the internet and we'll pull in that job and put it on our site for free every single time. If it's a job though, that maybe, let's say, needs extra visibility, a little extra love, right? Maybe needs to, right, kind of be pinned on top of, right, pages for job seekers. It's just a way for you to put some budget behind a role for it to basically be more visible on the site and last longer, because we have so many new jobs coming in every single day. It's just going to be a way to allot it premium visibility, if you will. And then with that, when you do sponsor a job, so right, you say, let's say, $500 that you want to allocate to a job, and this is something we would work with, right, your team leads on and whatnot. But then basically what we can do is we can input like search criteria, so we can say, right, like, we want to highlight relocation, we want to open this up to like the whole country. Something that you can do now is, instead of having to actually indicate a specific location, you can actually now input remote. So if it, or work from home. So if it is, right, classified as that, it'll open it up to everybody. So it just allows you some flexibility and premium visibility to job seekers who might be searching, right, those similar types of jobs.
Hi, this is Anna Okala. I have a question. Actually, I have two questions. One, is there a filter in the relations to US or green card? Because some of the projects we do are military, and some of the positions do require them to be either US or green card holders. Is there a sort or a filter to be able to apply to that?
There's not a filter that I can think of that does apply to that. Siobhan, I'm not sure if you happen to know this, but I would actually maybe even just type that into like the search,
Okay.
the advanced search filter, or maybe instead of putting it into this exact phrase, maybe like at least one of these words, or honestly, if it is something that's a non-negotiable for that job, I would input it right here.
Okay.
I was going to say this is the search.
Yep. And what was your second question?
My second question is in the sort criteria. Is it due to, like, Lewis is the most recent updated resume, or has it been the resume most viewed? What is it that gets him to be on the top?
Yep. So I can see here that he's both recently updated. He has indicated, right, that he is right, kind of raising his hand to say, like, I'm looking right now. So we kind of weigh it both from both relevancy within keywords and content inside of the resume itself. And then we also then layer on, right, when was it last updated? So it's basically just a way for us to promote, hey, this person was most recently active, has relevant information on their right profile that you'd be interested in. It's almost like a suggested resume based on what you've told us you're looking for.
And if there's certain skill sets, like say DO 160 experiences that we're looking for, or say that they're looking for certain 9100 experience or things of that nature, we could put those as well in the filters too, right?
You got it. Yep. So that what I would do is I would maybe go in and I would put them right back into one of these sections here. And then if it is like a specific either certification or experience that they have, then I would then turn this on, right, to save that search alert. And then you can actually then go in and then name it as that. So if you really wanted to just say, like, okay, here are all my candidates that have, right, D100, I think is what you said, right? That would be then a way for you to just really easily rerun those searches every day automatically. And then we'll email you those candidates that meet that search criteria.
Okay.
Good question.
Hey, Taylor, can you show us how to customize the frequency of those resume alerts and kind of, maybe just show us, maybe if we can have them for example, every Monday as opposed to daily, different things like that?
Yeah, so within your resume alerts here, so that is going to be able to be changed inside the email that you get. So within this platform right here, right, you basically have the option to either turn it on to activate it or to delete it itself. But then once you get an email indicating, hey, these are candidates right within this job alert, or you even get an email confirming right that the job alert was set, you can then go in and you can change the frequency with which you receive emails from us. It's just essentially subscription preferences or communication preferences like you would see right in any other platform that you were subscribed to. And then at that point then, right, if you wanted to kind of mitigate right how many emails you got, you could do that. But what I typically tend to see is that if you are actively recruiting for a particular role, those daily alerts are really helpful because it might be an email that only contains 1 or 2 candidates for you, but right, that's just going to be helpful for you to then be able to then put them directly in a project, which you can even do directly from the link that we'll include in the email for you. So it's really just as simple as that.
Taylor, this is on a call again. So I have a question coming from the OFCC standpoint for affirmative action. How does this apply when we pull up resumes? How do we track this for affirmative action purposes?
Yeah, so at least as for right now, so we don't collect any sort of demographic data inside of the platform for that specific purpose. So right, you will never collect anything like ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, nothing like that. So the system is kind of pre-built to adhere to those guidelines. So it's already baked into the platform.
Hey, Anna, this is Wendy. What I would suggest is that if you reach out to someone that you're interested in, you're just probably going to have them apply at parker.com so that they're from the affirmative action perspective.
Yeah. But then also, if I have like, say, 100 resumes that came in during my search, I also can comply to, I'm going to look at the first 25. And if I find 5 that looks good, then that, it's just all in relations to documentation too. So,
right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Kevin, is there anything else that you can think of that would be helpful to cover with your crew? Or maybe even any non-resume related questions, just anything Indeed related that we can answer for you?
No, at the moment, I think, no, this was definitely a great, presentation right off the bat from March 2020 to, where we're at in 2021. I can tell, the resume database platform has definitely, been continuously improving. It was already fast last year, and I could tell it's a lot faster. The look and feel is a lot different, but I just want to, make sure the team understands, the contacts as well. I know you mentioned it. So if anybody has any clarification questions on that, now would be the time to kind of understand that. But I did want to also clarify for the team. I know that you mentioned, something about the sponsored jobs. I believe there's a corporate partnership with Indeed where, all of our Parker, aerospace and Parker Hannifin jobs are automatically, being scraped and posted on Indeed as well. So that sponsored job campaign is in addition to as Taylor was mentioning, just to kind of give the specific job posting some love, kind of get them to be promoted a little more, a little more on Indeed platform. But I guess I just want to open it up to the rest of the team to see if there are any other questions about templates, about maybe some message templates that you would want to set up, or anything else that you'd like to ask at this moment.
All
It's
right.
like Taylor did an amazing job and covered everything.
Well, it's not my first rodeo, but what I do want to position for everyone is, if you have any questions that pop up and you just want to reach out to us and ask, please don't be afraid to do that. If at any point you want us to review maybe like an outbound message to someone and get our feedback, happy to do that. Or if maybe you ever have a role that is maybe a hard to fill position, maybe you're not getting great traction with it. Something else we can do is I can run some reporting for you right on that job title and on the content in the actual description itself. So if there's anything that we can do there to make some tweaks to just allow it to appear, right, in more searches. And then particularly if you are sponsoring it, right, it's just going to carry that sponsorship budget even further. Oftentimes we run into things like, you know, it might be a very niche role, or maybe like the title itself is just very specific to your company and maybe less the industry. And so at the end of the day, right, we just want to get a job to show up as if they would, you know, as they would search for it, not necessarily how we would title it. So you know, if you ever do run into that, I'm happy to just be a set of eyes for you, so that we can get that job in front of more people.
Awesome. We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Feel free to you know, connect with me on LinkedIn if you've got you know, additional questions, or you can reach out to Chris or Siobhan, and they can loop me in as well. I have like 15 of Chris, so you know, I'll do my best to be timely in my response. But anything I can do to help you, I'm happy to do that.
I just put our email, my email address, and Siobhan put her email address in the chat here. So if you do have questions, like Taylor said, you can reach out to us at any time, and we'll get back to you with the information you need. If you do want any other information about what Indeed's doing and how we can help out, whether it be through sponsorship or through running targeted ads or even hiring events, happy to walk you through that and answer questions as well.
Agreed.
Thank you. Very good.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Kevin, I will forward this recording on to you, and you can share it with the rest of the team.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Taylor, for the amazing demonstration.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Chat soon.
Take care,
Bye.
guys.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.